In this section, we're going to be talking about sample proportions. So instead of having an average some x bar, they're going to give us some sort of proportion. They're going to say some special characteristic p. And for us, we can find a special characteristic p, or they're going to give it to us. So what we need to do is talk about how we need to shift our population information, right? Our population information, mu, and sigma. So those are the first two things we're going to start off with. Mu for a sample proportion will be mu p hat. Little notation. For sigma, it's going to be sigma p hat. Now, just like our average, our mean section, our standard deviation has a formula that we have to follow. So for the new standard deviation, we need to take the square root of p times 1 minus p divided by n. That'll give us our new standard deviation for a proportion. And this p is that special characteristic, that proportion that they're talking about. So then those are the two main things that we're going to have to do for this problem. Once we have that information, we're going to do normal CDF, plug into the calculator, and go from there. The other thing we need to mention, or we need to figure out, is sometimes they might not give us the idea of our proportion. Sometimes they're going to say x is equal to some number. What we have to do with this x value is turn it into a proportion. So to turn it into a proportion, that means turn it into a fraction. So we're going to take this idea of an x number, and we're going to come up with our own special proportion. So they say p hat, this is our special proportion, is equal to the number divided by n. And they're going to give us n in both cases, right? We have to have n to do these types of problems, so they're going to give it to us. So anytime they tell us x is equal to some number, x is greater than, less than, we need to change it into a proportion. When we plug these numbers into our calculator, we need them all to match up. This is going to be a decimal. This is going to be a decimal. If x is some giant number, then it won't work out. It will say 0 or 1, and it doesn't give you the right information. So we have to make sure when we're dealing with proportions, everything is a percent or some sort of decimal. Decimal, decimal, decimal.